So I want to try an experiment real quick. We've all seen this photo here before, and if you haven't, it's the one where when you look at it, it looks at first like a vase. But if you shift your attention just a little bit, suddenly it looks like two people facing each other. Now what I want you to do is to put your attention on seeing the vase uninterrupted for 5 seconds. Now shift your attention to the two people facing each other, and again focus on that for another 5 seconds. Now one last time, shift your attention back to the vase and remain on that uninterrupted for a final 5 seconds. So what this experiment shows us is that by alternating your attention and focus, you can see different patterns in the same image. Now, here's where the magic happens, because it turns out that that very same mechanism of pattern recognition is precisely the thing that shapes and determines the way we view our life and how we feel about the experiences in it. In the early 1900s, there was something invented called a Rorschach ink blot. And essentially what it was used in psychiatry, where ink was scattered at random onto a piece of paper and it was presented to the patient. And the patient was asked to describe what they see in the ink blot. And by describing what they saw in the ink blot, this gave the psychiatrist insight into the patient's mind. Because in psychology, we understand that what someone sees in a particular thing says more about that person than it does about that thing. Now, the world around us is kind of like an ink blot, where it's not objectively really anything. I mean, look at all the opinions, look at all the belief systems, look at all the different ways that we carry ourselves, look at all the different ways people feel. Every single person is responding to this life in exactly the same way someone responds to an ink blot. Now, what characterizes what you're seeing in the world is your motivations, your fears, your desires, and moreover, your belief systems. If you're expecting to see negativity in the world, this is a form of confirmation bias where you're going to sort of filter out things in your life that go against that, and you're going to attract that which is in line and congruent with that negative stuff that you're expecting to see. And vice versa, if you're expecting to see positive things in the world, you're going to see things that reiterate and validate that inner expectation. It's kind of the same thing of how like this has happened to me a bunch, like when you learn a new word, suddenly you see it everywhere. The idea is that it's always been there. You suddenly are just now recognizing it more because you've learned this new word and it's like fresh in your mind, and so it's popping out everywhere. This is exactly the same thing that dictates the way in which we view the experiences in our life. Where if you believe to yourself the world is a negative and horrible and meaningless place, you're going to attract situations and see situations in a way that is in congruency with that inner narrative. Whereas if you see the world as a positive, amazing, beautiful thing, you're going to see it in that way. Now, being stuck in a particular way of viewing is similar to, like with that vase and face photo. You're going around and you're saying, for an example of somebody who sees life in a negative, nihilistic way, and they insist that it's horrible and meaningless and pointless and it's a nightmare and all this negative nonsense. They're going around and essentially saying, it's just a vase, just a vase, just a vase, just a vase. And then somebody comes along and says, hey man, it also is two people looking at each other. And they say, no, it's just a vase, it's just a vase. It's a denial of the other patterns that are available in the world. Now, if you're stuck in a particular way of seeing the world, you're going to deny the existence of other ways, other patterns of perceiving the world. Where that's exactly how confirmation bias works, where you believe the world a certain way. Anything that goes against that story, you're not really going to bat an eye to it. You're going to miss out on it because you're like seeking. You're like this laser that's seeking things that are equal to that inner narrative you're telling yourself. So let's say you're telling yourself, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. And then somebody comes along and says, hey man, you're worthy. You're not going to believe them because you don't even believe it. You don't even believe that you're worthy. So when the pattern presents itself saying, hey man, you're worthy, you don't bat an eye to it. You don't catch it. You don't pick up on it. If all you see is the vase, you're not, and you aren't aware of the possibility of it also being two people facing each other, you're not gonna see it. You're not gonna see it because you don't know it exists. You don't think it's possible. You're sort of insisting it's just the vase, it's just the vase. Now, this idea of insisting on life being a particular way, where, okay, so for example, in that experiment I gave in the beginning, where I told you to sort of alternate your focus between the vase and the two faces, and then back to the vase, I want to ask you, what did you do inside to alternate that focus? When you went from the vase, seeing the vase, to seeing the two people facing each other, what did you do inside to make that shift? Did you hope that you're going to see the two faces? Did you think that maybe one day in the future you'll see two faces looking at each other? Or did you expect and believe that you're going to see two people facing each other right now? And that's how you oscillated that awareness. That's how you alternated your focus, wavered it between the two faces and the vase. The two faces and the vase is you're putting your attention and intention on either one, where I'm seeing the vase now, I'm seeing the two faces. You're alternating it. Now, what if that's exactly the same thing that's how life works as well? Where if you're living life in a negative, nihilistic way, and you're depressed and sad and it all seems meaningless and hopeless, what is the story you're telling yourself inside? It's all hopeless, it's all hopeless, it's only vases, it's only vases, it's only vases. What if it's possible to see the two faces? What if it's possible to see life in an entirely different light? It is possible. It's not even a question of what if. The experiment that I've been showing to you and portraying to you is how you can perceive and sort of derive different patterns out of the very same image. You can derive different perceptions and different experiences in life, the very same experience in life, based upon how you're looking at it. What if what it takes to lead a life of positivity, of joy, of worthiness, of being enough, of achieving your goals is to believe that it exists already, to believe that it's there, to believe that it's possible? If you're insisting that the world is a horrible place, the pattern, the different constellation of life experiences that's waiting for you to believe in their possibility is never going to pop out at you. It's the same way of looking at the vase and not knowing that there's also two faces. Not being aware that there's another way to see life. It's not the way that you're insisting it is. And what it takes is that internal reorientation of focus. Where when you wake up in the morning, what do you expect? What are you expecting to experience? Another day, another dollar. expecting the same problems and the same letdowns and the same misfortune and the same drag and the same frustration and the same dissatisfaction? Is that what you're expecting? Because I'm telling you, man, that expectation, which is also coincided with your attention, is literally shaping your life. This has been represented to us time and time again by incredible teachers. You know, Neville Goddard, Napoleon Hill, Bob Proctor, and a bunch of ancient and modern teachers teaching us that our thoughts, Joe Dispenza, our thoughts are directly what are shaping our life. This is the idea behind manifestation, where if you believe I am unworthy of love, and then somebody comes up to you because they believe you are worthy of love and they engage in that experience with you, you are going to sabotage it and undoubtedly push it away because it goes against what you believe to be true. We're married to that story we're telling ourselves. We're saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. Then somebody comes along and tells you you're good enough. You don't believe them because you don't even believe it yourself. So how could the outside show you that which you don't even believe in? You take the same situation, let's just say you're stuck in traffic. One person, I have time to just hang out, listen to music, listen to a podcast, learn, sing, meditate. Appreciate nature, look around, get more fresh air. I don't have to be at work yet. Another person in the very same situation, oh my God, it's such a drag, the world sucks, my day is ruined. Same situation, two different perspectives. How do you want to see it, man? What are you expecting to see? What are you expecting to experience? This is the key behind manifestation, where if you don't think you are able to achieve your dreams, you're not going to take the initiative to do so because you don't even think it's possible. You ever heard the story of three blind men go up to an elephant and they touch the elephant? And they all touch different parts of the elephant, right? And one touches the leg and says, the elephant is like a stump. The other person touches the side of it and says, no, an elephant is like sandpaper. Another person touches the trunk and says, no, an elephant is like a tree. They're all touching the same elephant, but they're touching different parts of the same elephant, and therefore are deriving different meanings and experiences out of the same thing. You see what I'm saying? That's the same thing with life, man. It's a Rorschach blot. We're all blind people touching the elephant. We're all defining it how it is based off of our interpretation of it. Expectation is huge, where obviously there's going to be those sort of outliers where you think the world is horrible, the world is horrible, the world is horrible, and then suddenly something amazing happens and you recognize it and you appreciate it. And for a moment, you come out of that paradigm of the world is horrible and you live in, oh my God, it's actually amazing. But because of the constant reiteration of such a negative mental dynamic, a negative paradigm, you're going to undoubtedly and inevitably drop back into that once again because it's habit. It's a habitual expectation. Your attention is fixated on that particular thing. And so when experiences present themselves that are an opportunity for you to step out of that negative paradigm and into that of a paradigm of joy and beauty and potential and growth, you're gonna miss it a lot of the time. You're not going to see it, I've talked on this channel before about how when you are a deep person, and you express that depth to another individual and it feels like they shut you down, it feels like they don't reciprocate it, they don't understand you, and it feels like they sort of invalidate your passion. They just kind of stomp you up under their foot, and it leaves you feeling like, damn, dude, Like, nobody cares, nobody understands me. It's because you are coming from a particular place of depth that person or those people aren't able to tune into. They literally aren't seeing what you're seeing. Everyone around you is saying it's just a vase. And you're saying, no, dude, it's also two people facing each other. And they're all like, you're crazy, you're stupid, you're being too much, you're too deep. That's not the way it is. But it's a reality for you, but because they haven't seen the possibility of it being different than the way that they're insisting it is, they're going to invalidate you because of their own inexperience. So, if there's anything I want to sort of emphasize in this video, it's to put in great detail the question, how are you looking at life? What are you expecting to see? What are you expecting to experience? How are you expecting to feel? If you've studied manifestation to any extent, you've heard that the idea is to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you want to be rich, does that mean that you have to suffer invariably from now until you're rich, and then once you're rich, now I can be happy? It doesn't mean that. When you think of being rich, what would it feel like to be rich? What would it feel like to be financially stable right now? You don't have to have the money to feel that feeling. And it just so happens that in feeling the feeling of your desire fulfilled, it reorients your whole mind, body, and spirit to act from that wish fulfilled. And in acting from that wish fulfilled, you're going to take actions, undoubtedly, that manifest that dream into a reality. It's the way it works. It's the law of attraction. When you're resonating on a particular plane, it vibrates out of your life that which isn't in harmony with that space that you're resonating on. You ever noticed how, like, you get in a relationship with somebody and it's just a bomb of connection and depth and compatibility and growth, and then seemingly against both of your will, everything kind of goes into disarray, and you guys drift apart, and then a week later, a month later, a year later, you look back and you're like, how the hell was I even with them? You're not attracted to them anymore, and you don't even remember the version of yourself that could be attracted to them. This happened to me multiple times. With everybody in my past, I don't understand the version of myself that wanted to be with them. You see? And it's because when we come together with somebody, like talking in the sense of a relationship, when we come together, we're resonating, we're compatible. It's a resonance. That resonance, we needed each other in that moment. We're there to teach each other a lesson, to grow in some kind of way. And when that lesson has been taught, when that thing has happened or has been shed, you drift apart from that person and you grow, you level up. It's said that once you stretch yourself, you will never return to your old dimensions. And as you stretch yourself when engaging with a particular person, you outgrow each other. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It's not about right and wrong or good and bad or who's better and who's worse. It's about compatibility and resonance. And people will come into your life when you're resonating on a particular level, and then people will leave. And it's because you're constantly growing. It's a constant refining of your being based off of what level you're resonating on. Now, see, in a particular stage of your life, like, when you start to embody a life of fulfillment, a life of joy, a life of growth and potential, and, to put it simply, thinking big, not playing small anymore, but owning the depth of who you are and owning your creative potential and the passion you have for life, things are going to fall away. It's a process called polarization, where when you resonate on a certain level, when you take the initiative to put your foot down and change your way of being, to change your expectations, to change the way you see life, suddenly all this chaos is going to go on around you. People are going to judge you. People are going to put you down. People are going to try to drag you back down to where they think you should be. People are going to leave your life. People are going to criticize you. You're going to feel fear. You're going to feel alone. You're going to feel like you're being mean. You're going to feel like you're being arrogant. All because you're vibrating into a higher level of being that isn't in harmony, that isn't resonating with who you used to be. And who you used to be was why all that stuff was around you. Your job, your relationship, your friends, your financial status, your hobbies. Everything changes when you change on the inside. That's the idea of manifestation. What are you expecting to experience? Where is your attention? Is your attention on what's bad and the fear and the scarcity and what's going to go wrong and how bad and horrible and nasty and miserable everything is? Is that where your attention is at? Because I'll tell you, man, that's what you're going to see. You're going to sift and filter out that which goes against that inner narrative, and you're going to find and attract that which is in harmony with that narrative, so that you can excavate from that a feeling of being right. See, the world is horrible. See, it's stupid. See, it's meaningless. And see, in a way, it's kind of both. It's both. The world is neutral. The world is a Rorschach blot. It's up for interpretation. How do you want to look at it? How do you want to live your life? Don't you want to live from a place of positivity and love and joy and fun and growth? Or do you want to keep playing small? Do you want to keep living in this miserable shell? You know? Now, another thing is where you're resonating emanates off of you. That's why, that's another reason of how manifestation works, is it's going to alter and affect things around you. Well, where you start vibing on a certain level and people are not going to like you anymore. People that you thought were your friends are going to judge you and put you down because they were only friends when you were resonating on a certain level. There was a resonance with them. And then as you change, I use all these words like vibration and resonance and harmony, but really what I'm describing is perspective, man. Where you're at, who you think you are, what you think life is, what you think it's all about, what you want to experience. As that changes, so too will the outside. Now, what sort of dictates how the outside changes? Now, manifestation isn't this idea that you're in control of everybody. I'm going to manifest this person into my life. That's not what it's about, man. The idea of trying to manifest a person into your life or control the outside is coming from a feeling of scarcity, a feeling of it not being the way it should be. Manifestation starts with you, of how do you feel inside? How do you want to feel? Instead of trying to attract the one, try being the one. Do you want to be somebody who's desperate, attracting somebody? Or do you want to be somebody who's resonating so confidently and with such love and passion for life in where they are that it weeds out and changes your entire life so that that person can find you? It said your vibe attracts your tribe. What level are you resonating on, man? What do you want to see in the world? Vases or faces? What do you want to see? How are you looking at it? What's the story you're telling yourself about your life? Look inside. What are you saying to yourself? The world sucks. I'll never be fit. I'll never have a partner. I'll never be financially stable. Oh, that dream I have, that's so unrealistic. I don't have what it takes. I'm not like them. Those who can achieve those things. I don't have what it takes. I'm not. Oh, no. I'll be judged. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Or do you want to come from a place of, you know what? I don't care if I mess up. I'm going to go for it. I have what it takes. That person over there that's doing it, they're no different than me. I have what it takes. I'm going to take action. I'm going to take initiative. I want to live in love. I want to go outside and see the beauty of nature. I want to be happy alone in my own skin and not need somebody out here to do it for me. I want to live from love. I want to live from joy. I want to be connected to God. I am connected to God. I am in love. I am in joy. I do have what it takes. Oh, I want that business to become financially stable. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what it takes. I'm going to go after it. You know? What are you saying? Why are you doubting yourself? Why are you putting yourself down? Why are you making the world out to be this nightmare? Now, see, a lot of us, there's this sort of, you could make this counter argument that, well, I didn't ask for it to be, I'm not just saying the world is horrible, I've experienced X, Y, and Z, and that's why I think it's all horrible. Well, see, X, Y, and Z are karmic predicaments that you were put in to teach you. X, Y, and Z happened to grow you. Now, are you learning the lesson? Are you implementing what it was meant to teach you? Or are you sort of dragging X, Y, and Z behind you into every new moment? And every new moment is a potential to let go of the past and grow into the future. You know? Let go and grow. You don't need to carry those traumas from the past into the future. Alan Watts says you are under no obligation to be who you were 5 seconds ago. You can change right now. It's not this who you want to be and how you want to see the world and what you want to achieve is not this thing that you eventually reach, and for the meantime you like postpone your happiness and satisfaction up until that point. That happiness and that fulfillment and that state out there is something that with the flip of a switch you embody right now. Right now. How are you feeling? Where are you resonating at? What's your level? Where are you at? Do you think it's possible? Do you think life is beautiful? Do you think you have what it takes? If not, take inventory, man. Readjust. Re-embody. Now, this isn't denial. This is about believing in your potential. Not succumbing to an inner narrative of like low vibrations and like self-doubt and self-deprecation. And what makes your depression and your nihilism more true and authentic than potential and growth and beauty? It's not. It's no more true. So why are you spending your time in hell when you could be in heaven? The vase is no more true than the two faces looking at each other. It's just about how you look at it. You look at a Rorschach blot, one person seeing a bird isn't more right than somebody who sees a person in it. They're both right. It's about how they're looking at it. You know? And then when somebody shares with you, hey dude, there's also like a bird in it, like look at it like this. And suddenly there it is, there's the bird. That's the same thing with our life. You think, oh, it's all horrible. Oh my gosh, I've seen this thing. It's like this depressed nihilistic guy. He says, nothing matters. And then there's a Buddhist monk next to him that says, it does, doesn't it? Nothing does matter, doesn't it? It's so beautiful. It's all a matter of perspective. Remember when you were a little kid and you came home from school and you had a bad day and you tell your parents about it and they say, it's what you make of it, bud. Turns out, and like you didn't want to hear it at that time. It was like so annoying because you realize that the responsibility of how you see the world is up to you. It's up to you how you see it. It turns out that that's the way it is. That's how it works. It's what you make of it. I think, oh God, I have so much to change. I think so negatively. I look in the mirror and I hate what I see, and I hate my job, and I have no friends, and I'm so lonely and desperate and pain and all this negative, nasty stuff. Well, you just got a lot to work with, man. You got a lot that you can grow with. You got a whole journey of life to blossom from. Now think about the payoff in being able to evolve through that monster of negativity. Talk about belief in yourself. Talk about resilience. But when that journey of growing begins is when you decide to let go of the story you're telling yourself that's keeping you in that hell. It's incredible. So if I were to sum up this video, I'd like to say to you, what do you want to see in life? Vases or faces? Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did enjoy, consider liking and subscribing, because because it really helps me out. I appreciate it so much. And liking this video helps get this video recommended to more people like you who may really need to hear this kind of stuff. So with that said, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all in the next one.